Good morning, everyone. If we could please start to find our seats. Congratulations. Thanks. You'll miss me. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Baxter,
Present.
Commissioner Flores, Commissioner Marino, Commissioner Powell,
Here.
Commissioner Sachs, Commissioner Wise,
Here.
and Vice Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Dear God, bless this meeting convened in good will for the benefit of those we serve. Give us strength to overcome the obstacles we shall surely meet, and the wisdom to make good use of the opportunities we shall surely find. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was noticing that, but I'm kind of going in the dark here.
Administrator, do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
We do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. On page 7, we have a revised 5C1. On page 31, 3K4 is a revised motion and title. On page 32, 3K5 is a revised summary. On page 45, 3AA1 is a revised motion and, title and summary. On page 56, 4C1 is a deletion. On page 63, 5G1 is a revised summary. And finally, on page 65, 5G2 is a revised motion and title. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. Moving on, do we have cards on consent? Okay. Moving on to consent. Would anyone like to pull anything off of consent?
Yes.
Yes. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On page 23, 3H8, and on page 39, 3T1.
Any? I have a motion by Commissioner Marino to approve minus those two items. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. We will start with the consent items on page 23. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to have this one pulled for us to have discussion. It's around $8 million for us to proceed with design for the South County Complex. It's a capital project. And my question yesterday in agenda review was maybe us being able to look at all the capital projects that are coming up, where we are in all of this, and maybe we hit a pause until we can have further discussion with everything, knowing what's going to be on the ballot potentially in November, and us having more of a broad discussion on all of them. This is just the first one, and this agenda, there's more coming, but this was under consent to move forward. And I'd like to pause, postpone, and request perhaps a workshop on all of our capital projects.
Before we do that, because we have put off capital projects for a long time, let's let Jennifer give us an update. One sec, Jennifer. Administrator Abruzzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Administration concurs with Commissioner Woodward. We would like to schedule a workshop based on all our capital projects so we could go by them one by one systematically and get direction from the board.
And Jennifer, you agree? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward. I have a second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say that the motion carries 7-0. Moving on to page 39, item 3T1. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized. And Administrator, did you still need to speak, or is your light just still on? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This was actually brought to my attention a little while ago about the change in the law last year for us to have to approve the child care licensing agency and how we do it. DCF does it for most of the state. We're one of the few counties that actually pays the Department of Health to do this. And it came forward on the agenda, and I just saw it under consent. I had people reach out to me with questions, and we do have a brief presentation. I think that it just would, this is the first time really it's coming to the board. If we could have discussion on how much we're actually paying for this and the option to us not have to pay for it and just send it back to DCF. So I'd like more information. I didn't have any of those answers yesterday. I think we have them today.
DCF or?
DCF.
With DOH. Good morning,
Good morning.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I do have the Department of Health here today with their staff to go over some of the questions that Vice Mayor Woodward sent over to discuss. The Health Department is the licensing board. There were some restrictions that were a lot higher than the Department of Children's and Families. That was kind of the reason they made some changes to the licensing board to basically put some higher standards on the licensing of child care facilities. I'll let Dr. Jyoti introduce her team and go over some of those.
Good morning, and thank you for having the Department of Health here and to hearing us this morning. And so I just wanted to give a high overview of this program with the Department of Health. And so this program has been with the Department of Health under a special act since 1959. So it's been, 67 years that we've been the local licensing agency here for Palm Beach County. Throughout these years, there have been many counties throughout state of Florida who have gone back to give the program back to DCF. However, there's only 4 counties that are still currently a local licensing facility, and Palm Beach County is one of them, along with Broward, Sarasota, and Pinellas. So it is, we're here primarily to make sure that our children in this county have a safe, our primary goal is safety and wellness for those children. So we recently revised and came up to date with our rule revisions at the local level to reflect DCF rules. However, there are a few rules that are a bit more stringent than DCF, and we have reasons as to why we made those rules a little bit more stringent, and it is always surrounding the safety of children in Palm Beach County. And here this morning to discuss the structure of our program as well as the funding for this program, I have our department director here, Rafael Reyes, sitting next to me. And then we have my agency attorney, Kathy Linton, along with, I have my business manager here as well, sitting in the audience.
Thank you. Because this is Vice Mayor Woodward's item, she wanted to pull. We'll hear from her first.
Thanks. I did have a couple of just direct questions on this, because how it was brought to me, there's a 2-part to this. One, what is the cost to the county? And are we duplicating, not duplicating services? It's something that DCF that at the state level would do for us without us having to pay for it. And we are currently paying, which I'll get to you on how much we are paying for. But then on the flip side, do we have a lot of added red tape and regulations above the state level that makes it difficult for daycare centers to operate or even open in this county, which is something, we have a lot of discussions and we need more childcare. Are we doing anything that's actually making it more difficult for businesses and for daycare operators to open, to thrive, to do everything that they're doing? Those were the things that came to me, and it was concerning to hear both of those. So if you could just answer the fiscal part of it, how much are we paying? How much would we have to pay if we kick it? And are we overburdening our local daycare centers by having this the way we do? And we could just have the state regulations.
Thank you for those questions. We're happy to answer them. I will have Rafael Reyes answer the financial part of it.
Yes, as far as the question of the financial contribution, the county currently contributes $721,000 for the support of the child care program.
Could you say that one more time, please?
$721,000,
Every year?
yes,
And do we know, are those coming out of our ad valorem?
correct. It's
Those are
part of
ad
the
valorem
core
dollars.
contract,
Thank you.
yes.
Please proceed.
Thank you. As far as the red tape, I believe that due to the fact that we have a child care advisory council that is appointed by the county commissioners, we actually remove a lot of the red tape. Our facilities basically get a white glove service whenever somebody wants to become a provider, even before they select a site to have a child care facility. We're available to do consultations and help them, so in the future, when they go to licensing, like if they were going to licensing to DCF, they will find out at the end that that facility could not possibly become a facility for a child care center. With us, we actually walk them through the whole process, and before they go to the Child Care Advisory Council, we make sure we have a full packet that shows everything that they need to do as far as compliance to become a provider.
Yeah, hi. I don't know if you can't hear that. Okay. My name is Kathy Linton. I'm the legal counsel. I would also agree with that, that because we're a local entity, I think it's a lot easier for our childcare facilities and family daycare homes to connect with somebody than a state agency that is doing this and a lot of other things to get a hold of people. If you don't get licensed with DCF, or if you have enforcement with DCF, you have to go through what's called the administrative hearing process with the Division of Administrative Hearings. Here, not only the Children's Services Council, the Early Learning Coalition, they listen in on Teams or attend all of our Child Care Advisory Council meetings. They can immediately see who gets licensed. They do a lot of funding to child care facilities. They also tune into our Environmental Control Hearing Board, your Environmental Control Hearing Board, to see enforcement. So if a child care facility got a Class 1 action, they may lose funding. They know that
Excuse me
immediately.
for 1 second. Would you please state your name and title for the record?
Yes, I did in the beginning. It's Kathy Linton. I'm the attorney for the Department of Health.
You're the attorney for the, okay, Department of Health, but not this. Who is the administrator for this board currently that we're discussing? The Child Care Program Board?
The administrator, there's two, part of this is there's two aspects to the local licensing agency. Obviously, the Board of County Commissions appoints that Child Care Advisory Council. They actually say yay, nay, deny licenses, revoke licenses. The Department of Health, through the special act, is charged with administrative and enforcement. So it's, Rafael Reyes is in charge of all the environmental programs, and that includes childcare.
Let me try this, maybe I'm not asking the right way. For this particular board that we appoint to, who is the director administrator of that board? Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
This is an interesting board because we are the ones who direct the Department of Health for the child care. We are the ones, and we did this last week.
Yeah, but Commissioner,
But you see, what's happening is this, and this is something I was very concerned with in 2013 with the Haley-Brockington Act. Do you all know about that? You see. Is it okay if I ask a couple of questions? Or should I wait till after you're done?
of course.
I'll wait.
One of the things, and I'm glad that Vice Mayor Woodward brought this up. And again, I asked who the director was for a specific reason. I have my appointee to this particular board call me with several concerns, and I was never able to get anyone on the phone who had any authority to help with the issues that this board is having. And one of those was that all she wanted was a simple agenda review in advance, just to kind of go over, ask some questions, and get them answered, and she was denied that. How are we doing a transparent process and allowing somebody to get information to make proper decisions when they're newly appointed to a licensing board. So this is why I'm asking, who would be in charge of whether that happens or not?
I can do that.
Okay, now you weren't there yet,
I know.
so I don't want to say it was you, but this was a big problem that I had, I want to say roughly a year and a half ago, to the point where I went and watched one of these board meetings. And again, information is very important when we're making decisions for the public. With that being said, Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. How many childcare facilities do we have in Palm Beach County?
Approximately 750 facilities.
Relatively, or we have?
We have, right now, today, 746. That's why I said approximately 750.
Okay. And do we have enough facilities right now to take care of all of the children out there underage?
No, I think we need more facilities.
Yes, we do, because there's not one seat available for a child in Palm Beach County. What do you recommend as a Department of Health that facilitates these places? What do you recommend that we do about that?
So what we have done is with these proposed rule revisions, we are trying to align with the DCF rules. You know, we have a few more stringent requirements, but by
Sir, I'm not
aligning.
asking about once they're built. I'm asking, does the Department of Health do anything to promote more childcare facilities?
Well, I can take
Sure,
that
go ahead.
question.
Right.
Thank you very much for the question. I am a board member who sits on the Early Learning Coalition, and every meeting that we go to, we discuss how to open more childcare facilities, how do we open our doors to more.
And what has been the result of working with the Urban League and discussing the need for childcare facilities?
We try to make it as easy as possible.
Have you started one?
That's not as the Department of Health, we don't start facilities. We're the regulatory agency, so.
Okay, thank you, that's fine. We have the Department of Health, we also have the Florida, and this board is the Local Child Care Facilities Board, which we oversee what you do. But I haven't, maybe you sent it to me? I don't know, but I haven't yet to see a program or a result or a conclusion or a summary from your board to us. Have you sent one?
We do send the agendas, and we send the minutes of every Child Care Advisory Council meeting.
Have you sent the reason that we don't have any more any child care facilities for hundreds of kids in our
I
community
believe in
today?
the state of Florida, there are not sufficient child care facilities.
You're not, you're an attorney, you're working for Palm Beach County.
Right.
We pay you. I'm
Yes.
talking about Palm Beach County.
Okay, and another idea that I've heard, just to let you know, it's not something we can control, but I believe that the legislature could pass something that allows something less stringent than the child care rules.
No,
for
I don't thi-
after-
I'm
for af-
sorry.
For aftercare.
I
for older
strongly
children and
disagree
aftercare.
with lessening our regulations.
Okay,
All right,
that's one of
but
the.
are you aware of the Haley, excuse me, ma'am, I'm speaking?
Sorry,
Are you aware of the Haley-Brockington Act?
no, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
But I will say that
Well,
we
let me
have-
tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's a law that was passed so that your board could make sure that every child care facility that has a vehicle paid for by the Board of County Commissioners has a safety device in the back.
Yes.
Okay,
I am
so
aware of that.
so you're aware of
Yes,
that?
I am.
How many vans do we have that transports children?
I have no idea.
Sir, do you have any idea?
We don't have the number of vans, but part of our regulations is to ensure that they have all the safety equipment.
But you don't know how many vehicles. That's part of your rules, is to have safety inspection of vehicles that transport children to child care facilities.
And we do that in every inspection.
But do you know how many we have?
I cannot tell you how many.
Can
right off-
anybody on this board tell me how many
We could pull-
vehicles we have to sir?
We could
Either
pull-
do you know or you don't?
We could pull the information from a database, but it's not something we have memorized.
Okay. I open this up to my colleagues. I'd like to also know, where does the $721,000 go to support what you do for our child care facilities? Can anybody answer that?
The $721,000 take care of 48% of the expenses of the program, and actually by Florida statute, the county is required to provide 75%.
So that goes to 48%
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
pay. And the DCF does basically duplicates the same process.
If DCF was regulating childcare facilities in this county, then we wouldn't need to regulate them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I do want to state on page 4 of the document that the requirements that are listed for Palm Beach County are our requirements, so those can be changed. As you can see, it'll show where we exceed the state minimum.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I guess, Mike, and you said, so the ones that are imposed by Palm Beach County on page 4, one of the areas I've found has been a challenge, and as we were talking about having more facilities, is in our urban settings, you know, the requirement, the outdoor playground requirement, as opposed to allowing, you know, the staff to take the children, you know, if there's a nearby park or something like that, to be able to utilize that. And that, I know that's been a hindrance in being able to open up, especially in our real urbanized areas, to open up daycare facilities for children. What is there, I mean, what would it take to change that, to have something more flexible that recognizes the environment in which we're living in?
That's a very good question. The rule does require certain square footage per child for a playground area. However, the rule also recognizes that in urban areas, facilities could, instead of having an outdoor playground, could have it indoors. What unfortunately the rule doesn't allow is to have a partial outdoor and indoor playground area.
So they could, so if they had and why, is there a reason why we can't change that rule?
Well, that we have to be at least as stringent as the state rule, and that's currently in the DCF state rule, so we
Okay.
couldn't be less stringent.
Okay, so in an urban area, they could have an entirely indoor playground.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but they can't have a combination of an indoor and an outdoor playground,
Not a combination.
sounds like. Okay. You know, my feeling about this is that, first off, you know, in reviewing what is required, you know, in having and look, I think DCF has a very big plate. As somebody who has been very close to interacting with them, both in the juvenile justice area, but also in the area of foster care, and what they do, they definitely have their hands full. I personally would not be in favor of giving them more work to do. As we know, as how they fund unfortunately, how the state funds their agencies can be a challenge. So I want to ensure that our children stay safe. I don't have an issue with some of the extra requirements that we have put in place. I would not want to see those go away. And so this is, you know, obviously we're looking at, and I do appreciate my colleague bringing this up, but this is our board that we appoint to oversee this, and if we don't like it, we can appoint different people if we wanted to operate in a different way, and we can also advise our administration on how we wanted to operate in terms of being able to assist or provide assistance to board members.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate all the questions that have been asked here today by my fellow commissioners, board members. So I understand there is a cost to this, $721,000 that we allocate towards the Department of Health to administer this program for us. And what I understood is it only funds about 48% when we're supposed to be at 75%.
That's correct.
Okay. And as I'm looking at some of the requirements here, you know, the first one, credentialing staff, there's no per child ratio at the DCF baseline, whereas at the county, there is a 20 staff per, or one staff per 20 children, which is a little bit more stringent, right? You know, my mom's a teacher, and I know it's not the same as childcare, but monitoring children is not easy. And when there is no ratios, that's concerning to me. I like what we currently have, and I want to be honest. This is a topic that I think we need to, if we're considering moving some dollars here, or making a decision between DCF and the health department, I think we need more information to really understand the impact of the change that we would be making. I understand that right now, every dollar needs to be accounted for, and we need to be very prudent with the decisions that we make. But one of the things that I don't want to do is risk our children, these little kids who, and I don't know what the difference is, and I want to be clear about that. I don't know what DCF's workload is versus our healthcare district, and if there is something that we should change to make this system or the process easier, and it's not going to jeopardize the safety of our children, then we should look at that. But the first thing that I ask myself, if we have a board who is appointed by us, why haven't we heard from this board with recommendations, right? So if we want to make this more efficient, we want to make this work better, I'm assuming that the people that we appoint to this board are the experts in this field, and I would love to hear from them before I make any decisions in cutting or allocating funds any other way. So for right now, I'm with Commissioner Weiss. I'm going to stay with what we have until I hear from this board and from some of the experts. So thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Commissioner Flores, for that, because part of what I wanted to point out on here is the part 3 of this agenda item, where you are adding a 90-day requirement, because this law was passed July 1 a year ago. It's June 9th, and we have to make a decision before July 1st. And there's a lot of questions. I have heard from 2 board members that are on this board, and I've heard from, you know, a lawyer who helps daycares get into operation, and telling me things like, you know, what we're doing is costing parents more to have their children in daycare, because that cost gets passed on to the parents. I don't know. I just know limited conversations, and then this pops up on consent agenda, you know, last week for us to vote on today, and really with no time, because the law, we have to be, you know, July 1 is when this has to be done. I don't care for that. I think we all need more time. There's a lot about this that I don't know. I know what 4 conversations that I've had about it that were concerning to me. And then my agenda review yesterday, which with a list of questions, and thank you for being here today. But we can't vote. That this is not the best way to do this if we're going to talk about policy decisions. And I agree, kicking this right now, I'm not comfortable with it, but we have to talk about this, and we should have a full vetted conversation with cost analysis, not just for the county taxpayers, but also for the daycares. Are we costing parents more by what we're doing? I'm told that, but I would like to hear from them. And that, I feel that requires a bigger conversation, because we do know childcare is an issue. We know we don't have enough of it, and what we do have, a lot of parents can't afford. So I'm okay with us not changing this today, but I want a full conversation on this, where we get all of our questions answered, and something that, I can talk intelligently to other people about, because I have just too little information on how this works. And are we actually costing, everyone more money with this in Palm Beach County? I don't know, and I don't like having 2 weeks' notice for us to make this decision. So the part 3 of this, I really thank you for adding the 90 days. That's very important, because next year, this needs to come up way earlier, and let's talk about what that means.
And I just recently found out, I believe, David Audi, if you can explain how long it takes if we wanted to change from Department of Health to DCF, if we wanted to flip back over, how long would that transition take?
I don't know that offhand. That's information we'd have to research from the department to find out. But I don't know what that administrative process would look like.
May I? Yes. So, yes, so that is also another issue that we would have to visit because of the special act. So if the Board of County Commissioners did decide to give the program back to DCF, we would still need time to, work with the legislator to change that special act, because that still governs the fact that this program is supposed to be with the county health department, and it's a local licensing agency. But I will also ask Kathy Linton to add any information.
That's really it. We would have to repeal the special act, which means it has to go through this next year, so it would take about a year to do. We just made an amendment to the special act this last session. So, you basically will have time to, I would suggest having some public hearings from the members of the, I would imagine that there's a lot of frustration from both the public who can't get childcare, but I don't think this is different in a different county. I don't know that it's better at DCF. But I do think that more voices you hear from throughout maybe this upcoming year would benefit you.
Okay, well, that would be my request. I would move that we pass what's on here, but I would like for this to come back on a full agenda that we can hear from the public. I mean, if it's a workshop, whatever it is, but I'd like to hear from both sides. We could say we don't know if it's better, but I think we should actually put the work in and know before we move this past this year. So let's have the time that needs to happen to this. So I would move to then adopt 3T1123.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward and a second by Commissioner Weiss. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you. We need you to talk to us. We need you to stay sharp, because you're watching our kids, our little kids. And every time a developer comes in here, I ask the same question I ask them in my office. Will you have a child care center in your new development? Why? There are no child care facilities, not one spot in this county for a child under 4. And moms are working, dads are working. We got to get tip-top here. And I worked on this many years ago in the Florida house, and we lost that child, Haley Brockington, and one of our vans going to one of our facilities. So I am very on to this. And you need to be more on than we are, because this is what we pay you for, all right? So I'm going to go along with this, but you better contact each one of us, do it by email, come by to see us, and tell us what you're doing about places without a license that have they're doing child care. All we ask of them is to post a notice. Sure, child care center right here in my house. I've seen a lot of those. We got to be on top of this. We're getting more families in here. We have a lot of children in here, and I'm asking developers to do this. So schedule with administration, with our great Ms. Ellison here, and let's get this done to talk to us, because we got to take care of these kids, and that's what you're doing, right? That's what you're doing. I know you're doing. I know you want to do it. I know you're doing a good job, but we got to get tip top on it. We got to get better than what we've been doing. You'll do that, right?
Absolutely.
May I ask a question to the commissioner? Are you asking us to contact you directly about this? Because we have a Child Care Advisory Council and we serve as their staff. So we have two roles that we play. In addition of regulating the facilities, we also serve as staff to the Child Care Advisory Council that
You
has been.
figure that out. But I want to listen to y'all. My door is always open. If you want to come on in and talk to me about it. This is an issue that's very important to me. It's been important to me since 2013. We failed once. I never want us to fail again. But I tell you what, in our urban areas, we got a real problem with those little babies. So you want to come see me? My door is always open, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm looking at page 6 of this presentation that was on our desk. And it's the motion for the staff to recommend motion to approve. But I'm actually curious about the funding because there are a lot of different pots for this funding. And I'm actually curious as to how much of the funding that the county pays is from ad valorem tax dollars, how much is it from fees? I see, because it says county authorized fees, local funds, local share. So I'm actually interested in the total breakdown and how those fees are collected and what the responsibility is of the county in payment. Because it says here a total of funding of $11 million. County's budget is 2.5 with a couple more numbers. Local share, 5.3 million. Authorized fees of 2.4 million. Local funds, 1.4 million. I really just like to know where the funds come from, how they get spent. Are they ad valorem dollars? Are they fee-based dollars? And if they're ad valorem dollars, we're going to have an issue going forward because we're not going to be able to collect dollars. So I really would like to know the funding on this.
Okay, so
Because the number you threw out earlier was $721,000, but that's a different number than what's on this page, so I'm just curious.
yes, the $721,000 are dedicated for the child care program only. That comes from your ad valorem and goes straight to the expense, to cover the expenses of the child care program. Excuse me. And once again, that covers 48% of the expenses, even though that by statute, the county is supposed to cover 75% of the expenses. So the program is underfunded, and the health department then, also has fees, based on the licenses for the facilities. And I'm talking about the child care program only at this time. When you read the $11 million, that's the total environmental public health budget, which comes from federal grants, different contracts, interagency agreements, and there is a portion that comes also from ad valorem for unfunded mandates, things that we are doing to enhance.
Can you say those words again? Unfunded mandates? That's something that the state puts upon us and says we have to do it, but they don't give us dollars for it, and now they want to take away our ad valorem dollars. So continue.
That's part of it. Also, part of it are enhanced public health protection that has been recommended by the county commissioners. And every time we get those recommendations, we definitely apply them. We hear to what the board has to say and continue to enhance public health outcomes in our county. For example, we have a Chicken Sentinel program that works very closely with your mosquito control people to try to prevent the actual development of mosquito-borne disease. We have an enhanced inspection program for the migrant labor camps, because if we only went by the state rule, we will go to those facilities twice a year and will inspect only 10% of the units. As most county commissioners are aware, a few years ago there were some big issues, and now we inspect 100% of them. We agree with the mandate that the county commissioners gave us at that time, and we take that very seriously. So that funding is to cover all of those enhanced programs to protect our residents and visitors.
I'm asking these questions because I'm hoping there's folks out there that are listening to us and listening to these conversations about that, the fact that ad valorem dollars cover things that we don't even know about. And if we don't collect those dollars, there are a lot of programs that are going to hurt a lot of people, and this is one of them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So I just want to talk in general about child care. I think Commissioner Sachs hit this this nail right on the head. It is very expensive for our families out there to be able to afford child care nowadays. And a lot of them are having to make decisions whether they send their child to child care, or will a family member watch over them, or do they give up their job, stay-at-home mom, or stay-at-home dad, for that matter, to watch after the child. So, but one of the things that we're seeing, and I have a friend of mine who actually owns 21 of these facilities, all through South Florida, is that although he may want to, finding land, finding a piece of property to make this happen has become very expensive proposition. When you have expensive land or expensive rent, it drives up the cost. And so I think that's something that we have to once again consider. It's the same issue that we're dealing with housing. The reason that housing is so expensive is because getting a piece of land is very expensive. And right now, construction costs are through the roof. So inflation, it hits everyone at the same time. And the last thing I wanted to tell people is that the biggest investor of childcare is the CSE, the Children's Services Council, who funds Early Education Coalition. And then those dollars help moms and dads be able to afford or provide a part of that childcare. And once again, Commissioner Marino just alluded to this, that's also at risk with them also taking a hit with the property taxes. So what we're seeing is that all of these things add up. And when you have less money and you have the same amount of children, I think what we're going to see is probably a dip in kids going to child care services, because the Children's Services Council is not going to have enough funding to be able to continue to provide that gap funding for these parents. So it's a great topic. I think when we look at this, I think we should look at it holistically, because I think it's going to impact the entire community as a whole. And our workforce could end up taking a hit. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you so much.
I don't know if just in listening today, if you're going to have public hearings on childcare, if you're interested in hearing more about all of the different environmental programs that you fund, because it's every public swimming pool. That's at every condo, apartment complex, hotel, motel, that's one. All body piercing, tattoo parlors, suntan salons, biomedical waste, septic tanks, migrant housing, all mobile home parks. What else?
Food and safety.
Oh, yeah, food and safety, prisons, assisted living facilities, public schools, fraternities, group homes. It goes on and on. So
Just some public swimming pools. We have over 4,000 pools. I think we're among the top 3 in the state of Florida. And of course, a lot of these swimming pool inspections deal with safety, to prevent drowning, to ensure that you have proper chemical properties in the water to prevent disease. Also limited use water systems, which are water systems that are not regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act, which we also do. These are systems that have less than 25 people, like small convenience stores that may have their own water plants. All of that, part of the funding to sustain those programs come from the ad valorem. So I concur with the Commissioner Marino. Losing that money will, may create an environment that will not be conducive to public health.
May I make a comment, Mayor?
You may.
Thank you. I think that, our point here is that there are so many services that the county commissioners and this board has agreed to fund, and I think it's important, to your point, Commissioner Woodward, that we should be transparent, and you should understand exactly what the Board of County Commissioners has agreed to fund, especially during this time where hard decisions and difficult decisions are just a little bit away to make. So you need to understand which ones will you continue, which ones are you willing to forego? What is the risk? What is the benefit to the community as a whole? So we would like to come forth not only with the child care program that we, are responsible for at this time, but also everything in environmental public health, because that is the one area that our core contract focuses on. And, other counties, there's core public health programs that the Board of County Commissioners fund. But in this county, it is the environmental public health, which is very large. It is the largest division in the state of Florida. Palm Beach County has the largest division in the state of Florida, and you all support that. So we would definitely like to come forth and give you that information.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
I appreciate that statement. That's what we want to know, especially with the swimming pools and the drains, make sure that they're legal, sufficient, the water quality, and farm worker housing where the kids are. I know a couple in my district. I'm going to look for your sign there that you've inspected that child care center for the farm worker children. So come talk to us about this, all right? I think it's very important, and I appreciate that willingness.
Thank you.
And with that statement, I'm going to go ahead and approve this, but I do want to make sure that we hear more of you with these statistics. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A few things. So the cost of childcare is astronomical. As a mother of 3, I think that the safety of our childcare facilities is very important. But as we've noted, we're only one of 4 counties that has this type of program. Are we saying that all the other counties are not safe for children?
That is a great question. We cannot speak for Department of Children's and Families. However, I know what we provide here in Palm Beach County, and I know the type of service and the type of attention that we have. I know the access to our staff that, I demand at the Department of Health. If there's a child care provider who needs assistance, understanding what the process is and how to be compliant with all of the rules that are in front of them, that is something that we absolutely provide. And I don't know that, unfortunately, as Commissioner Weiss had mentioned before, the manpower, it takes manpower, and manpower equals dollars. So DCF is spread thin, and they have a lot of responsibility on their plate right now. So I am not sure, I cannot speak for them, but I am not sure how difficult it would be for them to come up with the manpower and the resources to replicate what the Department of Health currently has. Thanks to all of you.
I can't think of anything more important than our children and their safety, their well-being. Absolutely, without a doubt. I think it goes without being said. I will also say that because we have a lack of childcare facilities, we're wondering where the children who can't afford to end up in them or go to them end up. And as a previous board member on the Children's Services Council, healthcare costs were covered routinely. And we do have programs to help with that, but only for people who make under a certain amount. There was a real fiscal cliff involved with whom we help on that board, and it was one of the things that I was trying to help with. I will say that we have to remember, and as a small business owner, every single regulation you add to anything adds a cost to the business. And the more costs go up, the more that is passed down to children, or not children, to the families who then need it for the children. And so let's keep that in mind when we're trying to balance safety and health with affordability. I can promise you there are middle-class families who would love to be able to send their kids to a child care facility that is great and healthy and learning, but they can't afford to do that. So they're sending them to friends, and I believe they're starting at a huge learning disadvantage, whether it's friends and family, because they are not learning the same things that kids already know going into elementary school. So let's keep that in mind when we're trying to balance out these costs and trying to sell it as not being safe if we don't have these programs when we're one of only 4 counties that does them. I do believe this is one of the things that some of our residents don't like. All the things you just listed, some of them are necessary, but are we over-regulating businesses and processes in our county? That's a problem. Now, I am sure somebody will write that I don't care about children tomorrow. That is absolutely not the case. I couldn't care. I think they're one of the most important things in making sure they're safe is a top priority. But again, I want to make sure parents can afford to put their kids in a facility and that we have facilities that have space for those kids. We talk about supply and demand up here all the time on this board. We need more supply of childcare facilities. So we need to find a way, when you come back to us, as Vice Mayor Woodward had requested, with maybe a good workshop item, and look at this, okay? And bring us some places we can potentially reduce some of these regulations that wouldn't cause harm, but also save some money for the businesses. And with that, I will call the vote. We did have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to public hearing.
I'll make a motion to receive and file proof of publication.
I have a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. We do have a card on the public hearing. So Attorney Adi, how would you like us to handle that? Because we just took the vote. Would you like us to redo it after hearing the card?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Please call the person forward.
John Levinson. And I think we just approved public.
We did. We're going to redo it after he speaks.
For the record, John Levinson, Delray Beach. I am a registered lobbyist with the county, and to give you a brief amount of history, back 14, 15 years ago, there were 39 or 38 different regulations. Each city had a regulation, the county had a regulation. It was very hard to comply with because of the uniqueness of each of them. And so the League of Cities created a task force that worked with the county and the cities to try and create a common organization and ordinance that would simplify the definitions, that would create a registration process that would be easy enough, that would incent people to do it, because we had very few that were complying. And out of that came the lobbyist registration ordinance with the county and the lobbyist registration registry, which is online here at the county. The purpose of that was, again, to incent lobbyists. And remember, it's not just people like me who represent a company. There are other people that qualify under the lobbyist registration requirements, and sometimes they're neighborhood associations, sometimes they're nonprofits. There are a whole variety of people. And so the intent of this was the transparency would be enhanced. It would be provided to both commissioners for cities and county, residents, people who were in other businesses, so that they would be able to very easily go to a central location and identify by city or by county or by organization where they were registered and what it was that they were registered for. The fee for $25 was set. It was, by the way, $25 once when you set your registration up. That was in most part really low because that was the amount that the county determined was going to be required to maintain the database. Unfortunately, and by the way, that fee incented even a small person who had one client to go ahead and register. $200, which is what you're proposing, would be okay, tolerable, if it was one time. But on an annual basis going forward, $200 per client, and in many cases, these are small clients who really are just needing help with, it could be a zoning issue, it could be anything. They may not be able to really afford that, or it may add costs, as the mayor mentioned earlier. So I would suggest that you relook at this. I know you want to collect at least $125 million in the $250 from we lobbyists. I don't think that's going to happen from the $200 fee. And in fact, I would argue that if the fee goes to $200 per year, you're going to dissuade people who are going to think, do I really need for one city, one time, to register with the county? And that is the place where even the cities, you register. So I urge you to reconsider the $200 per annum per client. If you wanted to make it a $200 one time, I think that can be amortized better over the life of the contract. But you're going to end up with less people registering, willing to take the risk that they'll suffer the consequences. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are going to redo that motion for the receive and file, or? Okay, got that. So motion for this. I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Sacks. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 6-0. Our next agenda item is to take place at 1 p.m. So, Attorney Adi, would you like us to just go back to that? We are going to skip 5A1 and go to 5B1. Mine says 5. On the table of contents, it says something different. These all say 5. For A. Okay. Moving on to 4B1, public safety.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Public safety. I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Woodward, or excuse me, Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. Thank you so much. Moving on to 4C1.
Was that deleted?
Is it pulled? Okay, we will move on then to regular agenda. That is what I was talking about. We will skip 5A1 and go to 5B1. Attorney Adi. Unless you need it read into the record for next week.
Just wanted you to be clear, because that is for next week, so it's just mentioning it today for the 16th.
For purposes of next week?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. I will entertain a motion to approve. Item 5A1. I have a motion by Commissioner Powell, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see if the motion carries. 7-0. Moving on to 5B1, airports. Commissioner Flores made the motion. Commissioner Weiss, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. 5C1, County Attorney. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward. I have a second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. Medical Examiner's Office, 5D1. Thank you, guys. I will entertain a motion to approve 5D1. I have a motion by Commissioner Marino. Second by Commissioner Flores, but we have a request for a brief presentation.
Just so
Clerk,
people
did you
know
get the motion in the second? Thank you.
So people know what this is.
Sure. You may proceed. Good morning.
Testing. Good morning, Mayor Baxter, Vice Mayor Woodward, Commissioners, Administrator Abruzzo, thank you. My name is Paul Petrino. I'm here representing the Medical Examiner's Office today on behalf of Dr. Catherine Miller, who is out of town. I'm with District County Administrator Tom Nadler and Shannon Fox, our always wise legal counsel. I'm also here with Mr. Ralph Saccone, who is our forensic supervisor. He oversees our medical legal death investigation team, who triage our calls, respond to scenes, work with hospitals, law enforcement, and certainly with families. And I note that to you because this is really about supporting their mission today and giving them the adequate resources we feel that they need in order to perform their mission in most capable ways. We're asking for a budget transfer of approximately $184,000 from contingency to the general fund for the procurement of 5 vehicles. And I will, based on the presentation, you see the slide in front of you, I'll touch upon some of the justification for that. First of all, it's an operational necessity for us to meet the mandatory response times to our scenes. It allows us to provide simultaneously scene coverage. We have had investigators in the past who have had to take their personal cars to scene, which is crazy. I think you would all agree. It allows us, based on domicile, to allow the investigators to respond in a more efficient and timely manner by having those vehicles strategically and geographically located throughout the county. It also, perhaps most importantly, if you talk to law enforcement and to fire rescue, allows us to clear those scenes much quicker. So you think of those times that I-95 is closed down, or there's a neighborhood closed down, or families just want to recover from their grief. It allows us to recover from those scenes and reduce those wait times. We hear that quite a bit. There's a risk mitigation component of this, that we are constantly, vehicles are constantly in a preventive maintenance state because of the heavy use, the heavy run times. They constantly need preventive maintenance. We often find ourselves, and this is no slap towards fleet, they are very supportive of us, but these are specialty vehicles we have. They're equipped with emergency lighting. They are right size for us. When we get into secondary vehicles that we lease from fleet, they're usually not adequate. They certainly don't have emergency lighting that puts our personnel at risk. They don't allow the sizing component that we need for all of our equipment. In fact, I'll share very quickly that we were recently given a Prius as one of our scene vehicles, and we can barely fit in that, let alone have our equipment. So that's some of what we're facing. Also, we have chain of custody issues. We do recover evidence, and many times that evidence, as you can well appreciate, is of a biological or biohazard nature, and we don't want to cycle that through the regular fleet vehicles, that we have ways to store that properly and then disinfect and decontaminate that issue. So moving over to the next slide. Am I doing that? That's fine. Oh, perfect. There is an ROI, there is a fiscal justification for this. Obviously, the maintenance costs will go down by having a larger fleet. It won't need that required maintenance I just mentioned. The replacement costs of curb is obviously pushed out every 3 years, maybe 4 years we can get from a vehicle. This will push it into the 6 or 7 year cycle. Additionally, I'll share we can right-size the vehicles if you approve this item, that we can save approximately $8,000 on each vehicle by being able to downsize to an Equinox from the current Ford Explorer. And we all know the price of gas nowadays. These are, because they're smaller, we have high run times. There'll be a great benefit to fuel efficiency. And last but not least is our workplace safety, is the ergonomics of these vehicles will allow us to standardize the fleet. So think of it as you get into your driveway or into your garage, that vehicle is set up for you. The mirrors are set right, your phone connects most times, right? The mapping software will work and allow our investigators to focus on the response to the scenes in a safe manner. So I'll just summarize by reading the last statement here. A standardized, appropriately sized fleet will eliminate bottlenecks in scene responses, reduce the county's liability and risk to employees, and ensure the MEO meets the demands of a growing population with the highest standards of dignity and forensic integrity. And I don't know if anyone else at the table has any comments. If not, thank you for your consideration, and we will certainly answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. We don't often have folks from medical examiners in the office, in chambers here. So I just want to take a moment to thank you for being here today. Thank you for the work that you do on behalf of the residents of Palm Beach County. And hopefully you can take that back to all of your staff. I know it's a difficult job you all perform, but it's a very important and needed work. So I'm just pleased to be able to have you here and be able to share my gratitude on behalf of myself and the folks in District 2. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
I believe we have a motion and a second already. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
I just want to talk to our deputy administrator for a second. Tom, so I understand that you work diligently on the pricing of these vehicles?
Yes, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner.
And I'm assuming the price was a little bit higher and you were able to bring it down a little bit?
Yeah, we just negotiated on the quantity of the cars.
Exactly. So I just wanted to highlight that because I think at this point in time, for every contract that we go out, I think we have to continue to doing that. So I just want to highlight that for everybody, all our employees out there who are negotiating contracts that are using taxpayer dollars, that we have to be prudent with our dollars and that we have to continue to maximize every single penny. So just want to say thank you for doing that, and I'd be happy to get you these 5 vehicles that I know you guys desperately need. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much.
Administrator Abruzzo, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just to piggyback off of Commissioner Flores' comments, thank you, Commissioner. Tom's expertise from PBSO, he dealt with a large portion of fleet, so his expertise in there definitely rang true. But I wanted to pre-thank the board. When I came on as county administrator to serve you, one of the very first meetings I had with our medical examiner, this came up. And there was a plea for these vehicles to get it done, how important it was. So I was happy to put this up from administration and have your back. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. We will move on to 5E1. Do we have any cards? No? Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve 5E1A and B. Commissioner
Sorry, can I?
Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wonder if we could have a short presentation, because I want to know what is the condition, safety condition of our parks.
Absolutely.
Especially, we had a young lady come before us on Matters by the Public, and she was a young girl. She was volunteering in the park, and she keeps getting accosted by homeless men sleeping in the park. So I'd like to know if that is the issue that we're looking at today, and if so, and maybe Dr. Fields can start out, is what do we have? Do we still have homeless sleeping in our public parks today?
Good morning, Jennifer. Tammy.
Good morning, Tammy. Did you want to respond to that?
Good morning. Tammy Fields, our Deputy County Administrator. To answer your question, Commissioner Sachs, there are still homeless individuals who come to our parks. They are allowed there during the daytime hours, just as any other resident in Palm Beach County. The legislation only prohibits the overnight on public property. So yes, we do have homeless individuals that are in our parks. The reason for this agreement is to have the Sheriff's Department that has additional authority beyond what our park rangers have to be able to keep safety in all of Palm Beach County parks.
I appreciate PBSO taking care of that issue because we also have folks not just sleeping in the park, but also parking their cars and sleeping in the cars in our parks. And I really appreciate very much what PBSO is doing to ensure the safety of all the residents of Palm Beach County and maybe to divert them, the homeless, to our services that we have here in the county. That's what I look forward to. So I appreciate this very much. Did you want to say something, Mr. Nadler? Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Mayor, Commissioners, Vice Mayor, when I looked at the program, when I was tasked as a special project, we had a lot of other issues with the park rangers where people park. There was no enforcement that can be done with the park rangers where if we needed to tow a car, remove a car from the scene, there's a lot of stuff that we could not do at the parks with the authority that park rangers are. But by signing this over to the sheriff's office, they'll have more authority to issue citations, have vehicles towed, and a seamless communication with PBSO with the radio system to have them response much quicker to our parks. So overall, we'll have a quicker response and make sure that our public is safe in our parks.
I move that we approve it.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So the budget transfer of close to $700,000 is from the general fund. Those are ad valorem dollars?
Yeah, yes, if I may, Mayor.
Please.
You may.
Yes, they are. They're currently budgeted in the Parks and Recreation Department as ad valorem funding, and they will be transferred for this purpose.
Collected from property tax dollars?
Correct.
Okay, and so if there's a point in time where we are not collecting property tax dollars, we are now putting at risk a lot of people in our community. Is that correct? I feel like an attorney all of a sudden. I'm not, and I don't play one on TV. But again, what we're talking about with ad valorem dollars are public safety right now.
Our park security budget, yes.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to approve 5E1A and B. Commissioner Sacks made the motion. Second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Did you want to speak? Yeah. Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to item 5F1A and B, fire rescue. You should have just said it. Well, does anyone need a presentation on for this? All right. I will enter. You do?
I have a comment.
Okay. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you for doing this 6 months in advance. In agenda review yesterday, one of the topics of discussion was contracts and how we wait until the sometimes very last moment to put out an RFP. And so a lot of times we're doing an emergency contract. I appreciate the fact that this is well in advance of the deadline of this contract. And I hope going forward that we are not in the position where we are like we were earlier, where we had less than 30 days to do, to make a motion. I do appreciate that this is 6 months in advance and we're doing this on a timely manner. Thank you.
So, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Woodward, second by Commissioner Sacks. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to 5G1, I believe we have a card.
I apologize. I don't know if it says Randall Baker or Rachel Baker, so I apologize.
I don't usually go
Randall,
by Rachel.
okay, thank you.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, thank you so much for the time. Randall Baker, citizen of Palm Beach County for many, many years, and currently the president of the Board of Trustees of the Murakami Museum and Japanese Gardens. Regarding this item, I want to express our full support of the bond coming up for November for the voters to weigh in on. This is important for our community, especially with all of the activities that are taking place at the state with the ad valorem tax at risk. This bond will go to help secure our parks for our communities and our families and make sure that we have a place where we can enjoy the recreation. The $280 million is a small amount of money that actually is needed by the parks, but we genuinely appreciate the support that you've given for this amount. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just can we clarify, because on the documentation it says 275 million, and on the list it has 280, and I believe at our last meeting we approved 280.
Yes, Sherry.
Sorry, Sherry Brown. Is this one on? Okay, sorry. Sherry Brown.
I didn't get an add delete sheet, by the way.
I think it was on the add delete sheet today. It was, yeah.
I didn't get one,
Okay.
but now I see it
Okay.
because my colleague showed it to me. I will make that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Weiss,
B.
a second by Commissioner Flores. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. I did just have a quick question, because we received a list of the projects moving forward. As far as when the voters look at this and they vote, are these projects, they're all baked in? Is there an order to any of this? Just because there's a map. I know that, I'm guessing you'll be putting this on a website to educate the voters and so everyone knows. Can you just walk us through real quick, because anyone who may be tuning into this to know what this bond means, just a quick overview of what you're presenting, the list, the map, any information that people would want to know?
Yes, Mayor, thank you for the question, Vice Mayor. So we do have a project list that all falls, it's just Parks and Recreation, I'm sorry, for the record, I'm Jennifer Cirillo, the Director of Parks and Recreation. This is regarding the Parks and Recreation bond issuance. We do have a list of projects that all fall within the ballot language that is being proposed in today's agenda item. That project list is countywide. It touches all 7 commission districts. So we did provide the commissioners with a map of where the projects are, as you requested at our workshop on May 19th. And you will see by that map, they really are countywide projects. They're far-reaching. Many of them will help us be more efficient. Many of those projects will also be potentially revenue-generating through sports.
Sorry, Jennifer.
Oh, that's okay, through sports tourism as well. But yes, to your question specifically, that information will be publicly accessible. We look forward to making that list available on our website, much like we did with the sales tax projects. So everybody knows exactly what they're supporting and would be considering on the question should they choose to do so. Yeah.
And where will they find that specifically?
So pbcparks.com is our website in Parks and Recreation, but I also imagine our OFMB director will make that accessible as well. So I don't know, Sheriff, if you want to address that.
Right, I would think we would want it in a couple of different locations so that it'd be easily found depending on where you are on the website, so.
And the map will be on there too. People like a visual. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say that the motion carries 7-0. Thank you, everyone.
I'll stick around for the library.
Okay, 5G2, A and B. Would anyone like a presentation? I will enter.
I'll make the motion.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Flores. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Same question for libraries. People will be able to go online, see the list, understand fully what they'll be voting for.
There we go. Doug Crane, Director for Libraries. We will be creating a list on our website at pbclibrary.org, and I expect the county will also have a larger website that will help us promote the projects that we intend to use the money for.
All right, thank you very much.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
I'd just like to make a comment, Madam Mayor. I didn't realize that, first of all, thank you for hosting the Ag Reserve Information Educational Tour at your place, and we're going to do it again at Canyons. But I want to make mention of the fact, little known fact, I didn't realize that our Palm Beach County Libraries provides food for children during the summer months who are hungry. And they can go to a library and they can get their lunch because usually they get it out of school. So I think that is a beautiful thing that we do. I don't think that enough people know about it, but I can't imagine having all those kids hungry in a library at one time. You do a great job. Thank you so much for what you do for all of us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It is a partnership with the school district that provides the lunches.
Thank you. I had a motion. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
This is actually a question for both bonds. Similar to the infrastructure surtax dollars, I know there's different collection, but we had a menu of items. Is this in the future, if we see that one of the facilities really isn't something that we want to do and we want to put something else? We're not voting on a list right now. We're voting on a number. Is that correct?
Correct. In the ballot language, specifically for parks, it's pretty broad and says for aging, of course I can't find it, aging parks and recreational facilities, updating and expanding sports complexes, increase public beach access and trail connectivity, and acquire and develop new parks. So it gives us the flexibility. So the list is what we think today we would want, but it can be changed in the future.
Okay, so nothing's set in stone. We need flexibility as we go forward, but we don't want to do a bait and switch for our people. We just need them to know that here's what we're thinking, but if in the future we want to put a facility in District 1 that's on the beach, I keep pushing for this one, you know that. That's one of the 10 big ideas. But it would be doable.
Correct.
Okay.
And even with surtax, we did get a couple of smaller grants that, was able to completely remove projects off of it because we got grant funding and other sources. So we'll always be looking for those avenues too to make those changes.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
After this is done. I don't see any other comments. I had a motion by Commissioner Flores. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0 for 5G2 A and B. Thank you. Moving on to 5H1, Palmtran. Does anyone need a presentation? I will entertain a motion. Did you say yes?
Presentation.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners.
Can we get your word in advance? This is going to be brief. I've been asked that you make a brief presentation.
Brief presentation you will have.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, County Administrator, and everyone here. I will be very brief, if you don't mind. So, as you know, you have approved for us to release the ITN, or the invitation to negotiate for our paired transit services. That is currently out. We anticipate coming back to you in July or the month thereafter with our presentation and recommendations at that time. So this basically allows us to extend our contract with our vendors for another year. And very briefly, the first slide right there basically tells you what we are asking you to approve today. We have 4 action items before you right now, and it's the extension of the contract with MV Transit, and that is contract R2 2025-0677 until April 2027, not to exceed an amount of $25,651 and $25,651,835. You have item B, which is an extension of contract R 2025-0678 with First Transit until April 2027, not to exceed the amount of $41,188,174.35. And item C, and it's recommending the extension of contract R 2025-079 with MB Transportation for the GLOW Glades until April 2027, not to exceed an amount of $2,639,131.37. The document you have right before you have the incorrect number. We made that correction on the PowerPoint. And of course, we're asking on item D recommending budget transfer of $13,672,158 in Operation Fund 1340, decreasing the operational reserve to increase paratransit contractor services and paratransit lease building operational accounts, just to, as we are extending potential new contracts, either for the same vendors or future vendors, this contract will terminate on the start of the new vendor contracts based on the ATN solicitation. And I can stop right now and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
This goes back to what I said at our previous agenda item. This is an emergency contract. I do not want to see emergency contracts come to us in the future. It is unacceptable that we are put in a position where we are on defense and not offense. So in the future, please, I do not want to see any more emergency contracts coming in front of us. We need the accurate and enough lead time for an RFP, for the process, for whatever protests there are, and we need to do it in a timely fashion, because this is not the first emergency contract that's come in front of us just this year. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner.
Flores, you're recognized.
So regarding that process that we're going through right now, you call that an ITN?
Just Commissioners.
Can you explain what ITN?
Yeah, it's invitation to negotiate. So versus the request for proposal, this allows more flexibility. As you remember, last time you've asked us to look at the best vendor, not necessarily based on price, but based on qualifications and what they can do. In the last solicitation, this solicitation also includes brokering a number of positions that we currently have for reservation scheduling and so forth, as well as them providing, a vendor providing the necessary software and technology that would allow us to be more efficient and so on. So the ITN itself is a little broader than an RFP, and I guess.
So when is that process? Talk to me about that process. That's what I'm interested in.
So, yes, Commissioner. So
when are we receiving submittals? When are they being reviewed? When are they coming before your subcommittees, and when will they make it to us?
So it was released a few months ago. A number of prospective vendors asked for more information. There's been a big round of questions that have come up, well over 400 or so public information requests that have come forward. So the item itself right now is ready for them to bid on, and then it will give us an opportunity for us to evaluate it, which we anticipate to have your.
So you said it's going to be available to bid on. When is that opening?
It's already been issued. The ITN has already been issued,
Okay.
as Ivan mentioned. So right now, we're responding to questions, and our goal is to get that back before the board for some sort of decision in December.
So hold on. So
you
you're
just-
fielding questions, and that's going to come to us before December?
No. Sorry, we're bringing this item back to you in July.
So the proposals are due next week,
Okay.
the 12th. And then we will start the evaluation process, hoping to go to selection committee in about a month or two after the process. And then we would be bringing back to the board for recommendation, correct?
Okay,
but
and
the
when you say
proposals are due next
recommendation,
week.
we are gonna be able to ask questions of these vendors?
So what happens is during selection committee, the already selected group would be asking those questions of the vendors. Once we narrow down with the ITN, it gives us an opportunity to negotiate with one or two or more vendors at a time, which the RFP normally doesn't allow for that. And so once we have those vendors narrowed down, then we would be coming back with recommendations, and the board will then have the opportunity to give a decision and ask questions of those vendors.
When
if
you say
necessary.
recommendation, are we gonna be allowed to select the vendor we?
We will have selection committee, and the selection committee generally
So you're gonna
chooses-
recommend one to me? Or
Not
the two?
necessarily. It can be more. With the ITN, we are able to recommend more than one vendor to bring to the board, which the RFP generally did not.
So, Commissioner, so the selection committee will bring you recommendations, but obviously, as the commission, you make the final decision on one or more of those paratransit agencies.
And the
you want to
idea is that we should select two, correct?
Currently, we're working with two, but if the board decides they want to do more or less, it would ultimately be your decision.
Right, but in the past, we got into that problem where we selected one, they had issues, and then we were left scrambling.
Yes, sir.
So the ideal would be that we probably select two. But I don't want to be recommended just two. I would like to have a handful that come up here. We get to get a presentation from them, and we select.
You will absolutely have.
Because I've gone down this path since I've been up here about you guys making the recommendation, and we just do a rubber stamp.
No, understood.
I don't want that.
Understood. So you'll definitely receive recommendations from the selection committee, and then we'll work with procurement to make sure that you will see everything that came in, all the agencies that were presented. If the board wants a presentation, obviously, from each.
Well,
that's
my
up to the board.
recommendation is that you bring the top, I don't know, at least three.
Yes, sir.
If we should look at possibly doing two, then we should have some options up here.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know how you work that with the recommendation board or your selection board, but I don't want to rubber stamp something here.
Understood.
Because
Understood.
you just heard Commissioner Marino say, this is an extension because of how late we got into this process. And if we, for some reason, don't want to, we only got two choices, and we don't like it, then we have to go back to the drawing board. So I would like us to have the opportunity to see what the competitors are suggesting, what technology is going to do, how we're going to increase efficiencies, how we're going to make this program, because we heard it last week, we want to make this better. So I want to make sure that I have options up here. And I'm not just rubber stamping what some committee, who I don't know who it is, and it might be great folks, but I want to be able to see, and I want the public to be able to see what these companies are bringing to the board.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Marino? I'm sorry, Commissioner Sacks.
We're so lucky to have two Marias in the same board. Tell you, one on the right and one on the left. Mr. Brown, how are you going to do this? Commissioner Flores gave you a very good direction. Now, how are you going to approach that with all of us? Because it's important.
As Ivan mentioned, Mr. Navarro mentioned, so we did an invitation to negotiate versus an RFP. So that invitation to negotiate will allow us to take a look at multiple paratransit providers to bring those multiple agencies to the board for a decision.
That's what's important. You take a look at them. If they fulfill the necessary requirements, then you let us make the decision.
Well,
How are you going to do that?
You would definitely make the decision. The selection committee will make recommendations, but you as the board, you will make the final
Yeah,
decision.
I understand that, but that's what he was talking about. The selection committee will make the choice. No, no, no. Give all of that to us so we can make the decision. Is there any, and what I'm saying is, how are you going to approach that?
Yeah,
Hold on. All right, sir, Attorney Adi?
Just to clarify, Commissioner, the selection committee does the vetting, make the recommendation based on a presentation, and then they bring it to the board. And then the board has the options to choose which of the candidates, but you won't stand as the selection committee, so to
No, I
speak.
understand that, Mr. Adi. That's why I said after the necessary requirements are met for each person or each company, then how are we going to get, to come before the board and say, these are the choices, really doesn't give us much choice. So what I'm asking is, once the necessary requirements are met for this company to compete, how are you going to present that to us individually so that when we come to a board meeting, we know what we're talking about and we know the differences? Sir.
So, as what Commissioner Flores suggested, so if you need a minimum of 2, you get more than 2, so they could go 4. And then that a selection committee vets and determines that are the ones that they recommend. When it comes to the board, they provide you with all the information, all the, about each company, and you can review that, ask questions of them, which we've done quite a few times before, and then you make the selection of your 2. But if the suggestion is that they just get the companies together and bring them before the board.
No, that's not what I asked.
Okay.
Let me ask it for the 3rd time. After the necessary requirements are met for a company to bid, how will you present that to us so that we see 5 or 6 different companies that have made the list, rather than, as Commissioner Flores was rightly talking about, come before the board, here are the 2, which do you want? It's a little difficult for us to make this important decision. So I'd like to get a process whereby you all will present to us after the necessary requirements are met so that we can make a choice.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am.
So you let us know, Mr. Brown.
Yes, ma'am. So the plan would be to set up individual meetings with the commissioners. We'll share with you what the selection committee has recommended, but also what we've received from these agencies prior to coming before a board meeting. Yes, ma'am.
I don't think you can discuss that with the commissioners privately during that period before it's brought to the, so remember, you're still operating on a cone of silence at that point. So your presentation to the board, you can provide them with information, but what discussions you're gonna have, maybe we should have, I'll discuss that with the department as to the limitations of those discussions.
With us.
With the board?
The department with the board?
Can I clarify what I meant, Ms. Adi? So the agenda item that we would bring to the Board of Commissioners, Board of County Commissioners for their review, that's what we would have looked to meet with them prior to discuss that agenda item and the recommendations, if that's permissible.
So you're just giving them the facts as to what's presented?
Yes, sir. And what would show up on the agenda item, and then the backup that we would have received in preparing that agenda item and the recommendations that are being brought forward
By the selection committee?
by the selection committee.
Okay, Commissioner Weiss and then Marino?
Yeah, this is just back to our attorney, but this is our staff. They're not under the cone of silence.
Yeah, I think I misunderstood what he said, but what he just said is.
All right. I hope I can talk to them. I want to talk to them. It's
Commissioner Marino?
important information that they have. They have the expertise.
That's standard.
So for the selection committee, and this is important to know, what are the qualifications of the selection committee?
So, Commissioner, that's a very good question. The qualifications is they have to have either the expertise, training related to software and technology, paratransit operations. So we're bringing other peers from other transit systems as well, who are professionals in the area, in internal staff as well, that have extensive experience in the operations of paratransit services, which is critical for the success of this program.
So I think what my takeaway is, you're putting experts on the selection committee. They're using their expertise and their knowledge to bring forth to us the best recommendations. What you're hearing from the board is, we want more than 2. So hopefully we will get more than 2 to do the ITN. And when does the cone of silence period start with the ITN?
We're in it. We're in it now.
Sorry, Masimba Mutamba, Assistant County Attorney. Once the ITN is issued, that's the starting period for the cone of silence.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that date is?
It has already been issued, Commissioner. It is out. We're in
now.
it, correct?
We're in the
Yes.
cone of silence now. Thought so, okay. Commissioner Flores?
So as Commissioner Marino was asking that question, the first thing that came to mind was, what if there's how do you vet conflict of interest? And what if you bring an expert that's already using one of these vendors? Could that be a potential conflict of interest? I mean, like.
Generally speaking, the people who are chosen to be part of the selection committee, that's done in tandem with our office. The department and the purchasing department get in touch with us for who they're anticipating to select for the selection committee. Conflict of interest is one of the things I would look at once I get that list of individuals.
Okay, I trust you.
And for myself, the selection committee, I mean, it's full, like audited financials, and there's a lot of very, very detailed. I think some of the airport ones, it was about 900 pages per. So that's not, that, we have a committee that's going to do that and then give us executive summaries, perhaps, of what the findings are. And I'm assuming we will get more than 2. I agree. I think I would like some choices too, but I do not want to serve on the selection committee. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? See that passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, our mayor had to step away, so I'll run the remainder of this part of the meeting. Are there any commission district appointments from the board? No one? All right, we will move on to staff comments. Mr. Administrator?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to briefly update the board. I truly appreciate Commissioner Marino's comments about the ad valorem tax dollars. And it came to my attention, and a shout out to Palm Springs. They put a sign at one of their pavilions that let the public know that their property tax dollars paid for that pavilion. Tomorrow I've convened a meeting of our staff. We have some of the most incredible sign shops in the state, starting with our road and engineering, parks and rec, and our fire department. I'm going to look at coming to you with a plan to put signs in front of many of our incredible facilities that are public interfacing to let our residents know that their tax dollars, their property tax dollars paid for it, from ball fields to roads, bridges, really a variety of what their tax dollars have funded, to educate that that's what occurred. So I will be back likely at our next meeting with a plan to have many signs go out throughout Palm Beach County. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. County Attorney, any comments?
Yes, I do. And to sort of dovetail from the administrator's point, I wanted to start to discuss with the board the parameters that we can travel under with respect to communications based on the property tax constitutional amendment. I wanted to emphasize more than anything else what is prohibited and what is not, as far as county commissioners. And one of the things that I must say from the outset is there's a very sparse legal guidance, because the amendments that are relevant were passed in 2022, and we haven't seen much in terms of the court. So what we have is what the statute tells us, and sort of gives us some guidance. All right, so as we know, the statute, 106.113 Florida statute, was enacted specifically to limit or to prohibit the expenditure of government funds for campaigning or to influence voters. And the prohibition for us is that we can't advocate as using government funds, or we can't send information to the voters whether it's factual or not, we can't send. You know, we can post on our website is one of the things the statute says. For example, the statute says we can report on official action using local government's body in our discussions here, posting factual information on a government's website or on printed materials like pamphlets here, or we could host and provide information at a public forum, provide information that is otherwise authorized or required by law. And all of that we can do as a governmental body is only facts. As we have mentioned before, to educate, what we can't do is we can't advocate. So to the extent that we would want to suggest support for the amendment or against the amendment, that is prohibited. Now, what the statute did not prohibit is your First Amendment right. So even though you can't advocate as a member of the government body in your professional or your official capacity, you can do it in your personal capacity. So for example, if you're at a civic function and you can speak as a politician, you have that right, your First Amendment, you can advocate. The most important thing to do to try to find out, to establish in order to distinguish your official capacity from your personal capacity is the expenditure of government funds. So you can't use government funds, you can't use your staff to prepare what you're going to say. Anything that includes the expenditure of government funds is prohibited. But you can certainly, for example, on your personal social media account, you could say whatever you want to say. You could say support this or you're opposed in this referendum. You can do that. You just have to make sure that you're not using the county's official social media. But if you wanted to use your own personal, you're free to do that. The communication now, as Jodis mentioned about posting, one of the things that we're not clear on is the definition of send. Send. The statute says we can send information in our official capacity using government funds. So we talked about whether or not posting a sign is actually sending, because the sign we saw yesterday was a sign that was posted on a bridge. And while that might be in a gray area, I think we're okay doing that. We'd also mentioned yesterday about potentially putting them on vehicles. I think that will be a little dangerous, so we've sort of nixed that idea. Since those vehicles would be moving from one location to the other, going in people's homes. So we figure that might be communicated as send. And we know we can send even factual information. But as far as posting, I think you can do that. But most importantly, I think the thing that, the issue that will come up from time to time is when you attend functions, you may be there as a commissioner. I think it's always important to just emphasize if you're going to advocate that that's your personal view as opposed to speaking on behalf of the county.
Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you. Mr. Adi, what you just said is pretty serious. And I would request that your office do a memorandum of understanding. We just had a member of this commission, Commissioner Marino, state publicly on the record, these parks are financed by property taxes. Okay? I think that we need to know exactly what it is under that statute and what we can and cannot do. Because to post a sign on a park or a library, this facility is financed by your property taxes, is a statement that we are able to do. However, as there's no court documentation and there's no court hearings on this, you're going purely by statute, I would request that you do this very carefully and that you connect with the FAC, Florida Association of Counties, as to what they're doing as well, because this is a very serious thing that you're saying for us not to speak out or to give facts or information. That's a very thin line. And I can imagine, what is the penalty for a county commissioner who crosses that line? Is it criminal?
The most extreme is removal from office.
Okay, so we need more than just you're telling us that we can't say this. We need a document, and I would request either that it goes to the Attorney General. No, wait, not to the Attorney General. Have it checked by the attorney for the FAC and the League of Cities, and then give it to us. Because we're at many public, today, in a meeting, we're talking about that these facilities are financed, and they themselves say it. So we need to know exactly where we're going on this very important issue. And I would request that you would do that. Is that okay?
Absolutely. In fact, we've drafted one already, and we provided a preliminary one, but I'll take your guidance to run it by FAC. But
By FAC and the League of
we have
Cities.
done some extensive research and communications, not just in-house. So we'll provide that memo to the board.
And then I would request that you come and see us, if it's okay with my colleagues, because we go to many public meetings. And even today in the Board of County Commissioners will say, who finances, who's paying for this? And it comes from property taxes. So we need to know exactly what we can and cannot do under that law. And then we can see, please, what FAC and the League of Cities is opinion on this as well, and I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank
Just
you,
to let
sir.
you know, this is exactly what you can do here as a public body. Speak about what the property taxes are used. You can go further. You can talk about the consequences that will result if the amendment is passed. But I'll provide you with a written memorandum.
And that would be for all my colleagues as well.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
and
I'll set up the one-on-one meetings to
I
go
appreciate
over.
that, and make sure you connect with the FAC and the League of Cities as well. That way, we're all on the same page with regard to this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you. So, just to understand, because you said something that piqued my curiosity, which was you can't send something. Define sending.
We have no definition. So what we've used as our guidance is the examples that's in the statute that says you can post on a website, or you can create pamphlets that are held here that people can come and review. But it doesn't tell us exactly what send is. And then the same thing with post and social media. We're still not clear as to what that is. And all of the legal opinions that we've seen by different institutions have the same questions because they have not yet been interpreted. So what generally happens in a case like this is that a court will turn to a dictionary and look at the meaning and make the determination. So that's what we're doing as well. But we believe if we can post it on a website, we should be able to post it at a location. Whether or not that location is otherwise visible to the public is any different than posting it on our website is a question of to be determined.
It would seem to me that anything that we could do electronically, now, for example, you don't send TV, right?
Say again?
We don't send TV. We don't send video.
No.
People can stream video, but we don't send video per se. So
you mean as a commission meeting?
Right.
Or that's specifically permitted under the statute?
So it's so vague. It is so vague. And yet, the overlying principle, though, is, of course, the First Amendment.
Correct.
Which everybody has a right to.
Correct. For this deliberation as a public body, though, that's assessed differently. And there's also that question as to whether or not these deliberations, which are usually, these are allowed, whether or not this statute conflicts with your authority to deliberate. It doesn't, there's no interpretation as of now.
All right.
So my advice would be just to be on the safe side, is that when these discussions are having, that we stick to just the facts and the implications.
That's all I do is ever stick to the facts. Some politicians, maybe not.
Administrator Abruzzo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Adi, we are simply going to do a sign check. I want to make sure all our sign facilities are operating and working in every part of the county. Thank you.
Commissioner Marino?
Thank you. So if the county were to do a pamphlet, the pamphlet would not say vote yes or no, because that would be advocating. The pamphlet would say X amount of dollars in ad valorem dollars collected went to pay for this park, that field, this service, that roadway network. Is that correct? Because
Yes.
that is stating a fact.
That's a fact, and that's just educational.
And we are allowed to print that and have it in the building, but we are not allowed to send it out?
Correct. Cannot distribute it.
If we were to take that pamphlet with us when we were speaking in the position of a county commissioner at an HOA event or something like that, would we be able to hand that out?
No, because you've used government funds to prepare that document.
So it has to stay in the building?
Correct.
If we were to prepare a document like that using our own personal dollars, could we then hand that out? On our own personal time, our own personal money?
Without any staff or anything, just your Maria Marina's document?
Correct.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks?
Please, Mr. Adi, let's not discuss this until we look at it more carefully, because if Commissioner Marino was appearing as a county commissioner, and she does all her own money, and somebody asks, well, are we going to have our beautiful library here at Canyon? Are we going to have our ball fields if they pass a property tax? She needs to know if she is crossing the line on that statute. That statute has never been tested. This is a big deal for Palm Beach County. Please, before you give any legal opinion to us right now, if you could give us a written memorandum of law that specifically states what we can and cannot do. Because we are in a difficult position. You know how many times we get asked that question? But I can say, okay, I'll call you back on my cell phone, but I'm a county commissioner. So we need to know exactly, specifically, what we can and cannot do, because she could be in trouble.
No, she wouldn't be. I told her that because that's stated in the statute. You maintain your First Amendment right as an individual if you're not using county resources.
She's a county commissioner. She's there as a county commissioner.
It absolutely makes the distinguishing, it absolutely distinguishes between a commissioner and when in our official capacity versus our individual capacity. There's nothing that prohibits a commissioner. You don't lose your First Amendment right when you're acting as a private citizen.
But she's not acting as a private citizen. Would you please explain it? Because I don't understand how this is going on. If she's at an HOA meeting and Commissioner Marino or any of us, somebody says, what is going to happen with this property taxes thing? I'm sorry, I can't tell you, So if you could just tell us and give us examples after you speak with the FAC and things, because this is something that's coming up soon, very soon. And we're all being tested by it, and I want to make sure we don't get in trouble. If you could do that as soon as possible. Mr. Adi, do you think so?
Absolutely, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate it.
Okay, no more lights. I would actually like to thank you for this. I actually called last week to discuss this because, as you said, we're getting questioned about this constantly. I had a couple of questions for you when we spoke on the phone, because if we are attending an event as a commissioner, we're invited to speak at a Chamber of Commerce or something, and we are questioned about it, we are allowed to respond, in my opinion,
Yeah. So you still maintain the right, your First Amendment right, and there you're not an official county business, but you're called there because they know you're a commissioner. I think it's important to just explain that you are there in your personal capacity and that it's your personal opinion, not speaking as a county commissioner.
So I think either, it's going to be tricky for us. It's going, where this will be watched.
It's going to be, but yeah, if it were that you couldn't, that means by being a commissioner, you would have lost your First Amendment right in your private capacity, which the statute is not intended to do.
So, and then another, because we've talked about statement of facts, my opinion, and if questioned, does the if questioned also go into social media? If there's perhaps a comment on our official social media, are we allowed to answer or just don't answer?
On the county social media? No, I think then you're in your official capacity, you really have to stick to facts.
So don't answer. And then also, just to be clear, because I was called by one of our cities, the city attorney had told them, you know, just, you can't say anything about it. You would be disparaging or any of this. So he called me, do we have an opinion? So I think whatever we end up with, our cities are going to want to know the same thing because those elected officials are in the same category as us, but not state representatives. Because someone sent me I guess it's a flyer, it's a 4-page document, a lot of statement of fact, but in the end saying why this is good. Now, are they allowed to do that and we are not? Is it
From the
just-
state legislature?
It was a state,
It's an individual legislator?
yes.
Because they have the same restriction in terms of public funds from the 2025 amendment. So, but they have the freedom, just like I mentioned that you have as an individual, to express their position.
Okay, so just to be clear, if we receive an official state representative document electronically, and it has at the end of it why this is good, or if they were to happen to say why it's bad, like we're under the same rules? 'Cause we
It's two
can't do
different
that.
statutes. Our statute that I'm addressing is only for local government.
Okay.
But there is and that was in 2022. There's a 2025 bill that was passed that relates to the state legislatures. So, and I can't say everything about that, but it does have a restriction about expending public funds as well for them.
Okay, there just seems to be a bit of a confusion on, are we held at a higher standard then? And you know, it's tricky because there's multiple opinions on this, and apparently some are allowed to express whether or not this is good or bad, and others are not, and under...
I haven't researched what the state legislators can do with any diligence, but I can tell you in terms of, as far as local government, there is no way that you're prohibited from acting in your personal capacity, that you're restricted to not having an opinion or advocating.
Okay, well, if anybody else want to, I think you'll have a future meeting with all of us, and we'll get something in writing.
Most certainly. I'll run it by fact just because it's a topic that's being discussed.
And our cities would benefit from this too, because they have to watch themselves the same as us.
Absolutely.
All right, is there anyone who has a board direction? Actually, Commissioner Marino?
I have a question. Would it behoove us to hire an outside counsel on this who has a specialty in this nature?
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you. This was passed in the legislature a few years ago. When I was there, Attorney Oddie said there's not a lot on it. I think we've done a lot. It's a lot of questions. Attorney Oddie has already indicated that there's not been a lot of lawsuits on this. Even when this was proposed last week, there was a portion in it that would have allowed, in this bill, that would have allowed or would have made municipalities have to provide inside of their, I think it was water bills or something, what the amount of taxes would be reduced. I think Commissioner Sachs said it earlier, maybe we, look at this a little bit more in terms of what we can and can't do. But at this time, in my personal opinion, not my professional opinion, because I'm not an attorney, although my wife is, not this kind of attorney, right? I think we should table it. And if there's more that needs to happen, do that at a future date. So we are not continuing to circle in a direction where we don't have a lot of direction. So I don't think we need outside counsel for this because there's not a lot that has been done on it yet. And remember, this is something that was done in the Florida legislature where I was there, and they do a lot of things that, a lot of things that are different. I'll just say that there's a lot of language that is missing. You asked about definitions. There's a lot of bills that have passed that are not narrowly tailored or defined. So I don't think that's something that we would need to hire outside counsel for unless we just wanted to spend the money for them to tell us exactly what Attorney Audie's telling us.
No, I think what I would suggest and what I would hope is that if Attorney Audie felt he wasn't getting the right information and he felt he needed help with it, it would behoove us to get that. That would be up to the attorney. He could suggest it for us, whether one way or the other. If he felt that it was outside his purview or outside his skill set, and that there is somebody out there that may be able to do this in a more efficient manner, then I would not be adverse to that. I'm just suggesting whatever tools we can use to get us the best answer, we need to make them available to us. That's all.
Attorney Audie and Commissioner Sachs, would you?
Appreciate it. David Audie's an excellent attorney, excellent. And I think we can trust him. Of course we can trust him. We hired him. We like you. You're good. We respect you. He will get the information from the FAC. 67 counties may lose libraries and ball fields and parks. We're not the only one, although we're the best. So that's what I really, before any other word is spoken, to put us out of ease and comfort, we really need a memorandum of law as to what Palm Beach County Commissioners can do that is written under the advice and counsel of the FAC General Counsel and the League of Cities. And until then, I think we do what we've been doing up to now. I don't see anyone policing us. If somebody asks a question of a vice mayor about it, and she represents cities. See, I don't represent cities. She represents cities. And they do ask. And I think that, so this needs to be rather soon so that we know what we can and cannot do. And then I think the FAC is working on this because 67 counties, it's a lot of libraries. So if you could do that, Mr. Audie, my personal opinion, so we don't need to spend property taxes to get another lawyer. I think you're doing a very good job. Just get the resources from those big organizations that pay a lot of money for this, and we pay them too. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so if no one had board direction, am I right? All right, so we'll move on to commissioner comments. We'll start with Commissioner Marino.
Well, I just want to welcome into the world Margaret Stearns Marino, first great-grandchild to my parents. Was born yesterday, 8 pounds, 10 ounces, a couple days late, 20 inches long, and big baby, adorable. It's amazing how much love you might have in your heart, and then all of a sudden you've got this little tiny bundle of joy, and you didn't even know it's overwhelming and amazing. And I just want to wish my nephew and his wife a very happy, healthy baby. Thank you. That's all.
Congratulations to them as well. Commissioner Flores?
No comments.
Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. 2 things. If anybody's looking for kittens, we have 3 that are graduating, going to Peggy Adams. I think they'll be there tomorrow. And then we have 6 that we have from the ACC, and they've still got a few more weeks to go. So, but they're all great kittens, and I'm sure there's plenty of others out there. But just reminding folks, our dogs and cats need good, loving, permanent homes. And on behalf of District 7, I would like to request an off-site proclamation honoring the life and legacy of Mr. Samuel Bruce McDonald on June 13, 2026, and approval for an off-site proclamation recognizing the John F. Kennedy class of 1966 class reunion on June 14, 2026.
Okay, we have a first by Commissioner Weiss, second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? See, that passes 5-0 for 2 off-site procs. At the end of your comments? Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for the exciting time we had on the Ag Bus Tour, and I want to thank my colleagues for suggesting it, and then for all the public input that was received afterwards at the Canyons Library. We had a good time on the bus. I haven't been on a bus tour, I think, since middle school or something. It was just the other day, actually. But also we had, it was very interesting, I think, to see what was going out there. And especially there's a great scene where the vice mayor is petting a horse. I think the horse is really enjoying. I hope we captured that picture. And we saw Commissioner Flores there at the Delray Marketplace, and our county administrator Abruzzo was there to give a speech to the farmers and to all the interested parties. Mr. Rudder was there through the whole thing. It was really very, very nice. And Tanti Agudi for the new baby, Maria. Really, it's a what is the baby's name?
Margaret Stearns Marino.
Oh, very nice.
So we have the same initials, MM.
M&M, thank you. That's a beautiful thing to be at. Now you're a real Zia. You're a Zia. And also to Commissioner Weiss for taking care of the meeting there at the Canyons. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So on behalf of the mayor, I'd actually asked Big Dog Ranch to come forward. We have a dog here who's been here all day long, very quiet, good girl. Her name is Evie. You could just bring her forward. The cameras will find you. Let's see. Evie's journey has been one of love, resilience, and devotion. She was rescued from a high-risk shelter in Tennessee while pregnant and in need of a safe place to welcome her babies into the world. Thanks to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, Evie was given the chance to do just that. After arriving at the ranch, Evie lovingly raised her litter of puppies. Oh, there's the proud mama. And we're happy to share every one of her babies has found their forever home, and now it's Evie's turn. This sweet girl has a calm, gentle nature and a heart full of love. She enjoys spending time with people, gets along well with other dogs, and is wonderful with children. Whether she's relaxing by your side or soaking up affection, Evie is happiest when she's with her family. After being such a devoted mom, Evie is ready to start the next chapter of her life, one where she can be cherished, spoiled, and loved by the way she deserves. Could your home be the happy one she's waiting for? 28 pounds, 2 years old, and just adorable. If I could take 4, I would. So let's keep the streak going and get this beautiful girl adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. She's been a good girl here with us all day. And for myself, I did get to pet a horse. She was also pregnant, so lots of mamas and babies around here. Have a good time in Palm Beach County. I'd also like to welcome, I have a student intern, Ronica Deshmuk, who I actually got from our former commissioner, now Senator Bernard. She interned for him while she's at Florida State University. And so while she's here this summer, she'll be interning in my office. If you see her, say hello. And I'd like to also wish my husband happy anniversary. Our 27th anniversary will be this weekend. So thank you for that. Don't call me over the weekend. And with that, we will be, do we adjourn or recess? All right, so we'll be adjourning this meeting. We will return at 2 p.m. today for the budget hearing. With that, we're adjourned.